Okay, so this is going to be my final video of 2023, going into the New Year's, and 2023 for the most part has been it's been a crazy year. A lot of good things happen, but a lot of crazy and bad things happen too. I feel like the good slightly outweighed the bad for the most part because you look at like all the good things that happened in 2023 in relation to the gaming world. We got like so many high profile video games that came out this year, and so many titles that have gotten like really high like Metacritic scores and all that stuff. I'm talking about titles like Baldur's Gate 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We have games like Resident Evil 4, the remake. We have Diablo 4. We had Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Street Fighter 6, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Starfield. The list goes on. Just a lot of great games that came out this year, and most of the games I just mentioned got a lot of mainstream attention like before and after they came out. And um and I feel like in relation to video games in general, like the bar was set really high this year to a point where 2024 looks like it's going to be somewhat of an underwhelming year in comparison to 2023. I feel like it has the potential to be a better year than 2022 in relation to gaming news, but I wouldn't necessarily hold my breath. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And in relation to upcoming video games in 2024, there's not really too much to look forward to. The only big games I can think of that's supposed to be coming out next year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Tekken 8, along with Persona 3 Reload, which is a remake of the original Persona 3 game, which came out back in '06. Um, Princess Peach has another video game coming out, Princess Peach Showtime. Saw the trailer for that game. It looks promising, but we'll just have to wait and see what it looks like. And we're supposed to be getting another Like a Dragon game called Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is a part of the Yakuza series. So those are like the really big titles that I know of that's supposed to be coming out next year. We might get some surprises next year. Some people are speculating that the um, the new Dragon Ball game, the Sparkling Zero game, is supposed to be coming out sometime next year, but it hasn't been confirmed. It's probably going to come out sometime during the second half of 2024 or sometime in 2025. But um, but yeah, 2023 was like better than 2022 by leaps and bounds because 2022 felt kind of dead and there wasn't really too many like big releases that came out. It felt like a really slow year and it was really like nothing happening. As opposed to 2023, you had these high profile games and you had the Super Mario Brothers movie, which came out back in, I believe it was April of 2023. And pretty much like that movie, got praised by various critics, and it's probably one of the most successful video game movies of all time. It cracked 1 billion in terms of box office revenue in the time span of a couple of months, and it hasn't even been a full year just yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how much money that film made by the time we get to April 2024. But like for the most part, I kind of touched on the good in terms of 2023. As far as the bad is concerned, most of the bad has to do with the economy and all the layoffs that were made throughout the year. You had various companies make video game layoffs, like Electronic Arts, not Twitter, Twitch, Unity. Niantic, CD Project Red, Epic Games, Sony, Amazon Games, Bungie, you name it. And as far as 2023 is concerned, I believe Microsoft had won their lawsuit against FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, because I guess they felt like Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard was unconstitutional and all that stuff. But Microsoft did things to try and smooth things over. They signed a 10-year deal with Nintendo because they want to bring more Call of Duty games to the Switch console and all that stuff. So that's going forward. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hoping that. Microsoft and Sony don't, continue this whole process of trying to buy out third party developers because it's going to get to a point where people are going to have to pick and choose what they want or what game system they want in order to play like certain titles that they've always been able to play on multiple game systems and all that. But But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens between Sony and Microsoft and any potential developments in relation to the console wars, them possibly buying out other third party developers, and also like in terms of like bad, um, we got these we got like controversial stuff that kind of happened, like with the GTA 6 leaks and all that stuff. A lot of people were bummed by that. We had the leak concerning the Marvel's Wolverine game and Insomniac Games, and basically this ransomware group basically they hacked in and they took like multiple terabytes of content from Marvel's Wolverine in the game, which was probably scheduled to come out sometime next year, the year after that. And pretty much they were holding it for ransom for like a couple of $1 million or something like that. And that's just horrible. And a lot of people feel like the Marvel's Wolverine game is dead in the water. And I believe Insomniac Games said that they were like investigating the cause or something like that last time I read about it. But yeah, man, just like a lot of hacking going on, and I think that's more part of the bad than it is the good. Um, it's something that I hope doesn't really continue on into 2024. It's not a trend that continues in 2024 or even 2025, but just seeing how the world's becoming and how impatient people are and how people are just willing to do anything if they got any like free time or what have you. This type of stuff is going to continue happening. And yeah, for the most part, like with the bad, it was just layoffs and people hacking and stealing data and all that other stuff. But yeah, in terms of good, I do feel like the good in 2023 in relation to gaming news outweighed the bad for the most part. And we knew for a fact 2023 was going to be like a strong year in terms of video game releases and all that stuff, because the games that I mentioned earlier, we all knew they were coming out and all that stuff. And we had games like Final Fantasy 16, which was actually it was a pretty solid game. Like critics had good things to say about it, but it obviously underperformed. It fell below Square Enix desired expectations, because I believe it was reported on various websites that Square Enix had lost at least $2 billion since the launch of Final Fantasy 16, which was like back in the summer of 2023. So Square Enix might, be in some financial trouble right now, and basically, they got another big game coming out, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I think like a lot is riding on that game. That game has to do well in terms of sales. It has to do like somewhere between like 5 to 10 million in terms of sales, because for the most part, like Square Enix hasn't really put out anything that was really a hit. It's like they've had a couple of misses within the past like year or so. With the Forspoken game and Marvel's Avengers and Final Fantasy 16 not performing as well as Square Enix had hoped. This next game that they come out with, or their next major game, has to be a success. Otherwise, they might have to resort to bringing back older IPs like Chrono Trigger or something like that. Because I know a lot of people would love to see like a brand new Chrono Trigger game. People have wanted to see that for over 20 years now, but that's something that's completely up to them. But as far as gaming in 2023 is concerned, um, for those who are like a part of the gaming community and who just like play video games and check them out and all that stuff, it was a pretty good year. A lot of fun, cool, and interesting things happened this year. But if you were, I guess, like an employee working for like Sony or Square Enix or any of those companies, Microsoft or wherever, it was probably tough, like with all the cuts being made, and a lot of and a lot of like bad press and publicity came out in concerning like I believe it was Activision Blizzard or whatever. It was like a lot of negative stuff that came out about them, and in terms of their in terms of like workplace, like harassment against women and all that stuff. But um but yeah, man, just 2023 for the most part has been a crazy year. um I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. It was way more interesting than 2022, and as far as, 2024 is concerned, I'm not exactly sure what to expect. I don't think it's gonna be better than 2023, but, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially concerning the fact that we have. I think like at this point, E3 is permanently gone. Nobody gives a damn about that anymore. It's not coming back. People are gaming companies or gaming corporations. They're just going to do direct presentations and stuff like that because they got the money and the technology and all those things. And I do feel that within the next couple of years or so. The landscape of gaming is going to change for better or for worse. I have no idea just yet. And I do feel like cloud gaming is definitely going to become more of a thing going into the future. I'm not going to go on record and say that the PlayStation 5 is going to be Sony's final console and we know like Nintendo Switch is not going to be Nintendo's final game system or what have you, but we do know that Microsoft has been wanting to move towards cloud gaming for quite some time, and that's something that might happen a few years down the line. And there's been a lot of speculation within the past year or two that the Xbox Series X might be Microsoft's final console. Don't take my word for it; it's just speculation and what I've basically read on various websites. But yeah, 2023 was an exciting year for better or for worse, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what the future holds for 2024.